Hi, everyone. I have Latoya here, and we are starting to talk about what is coming up on April 12th. On April 12th, all day long from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. PST time, we are going to be partaking in the Health, Wealth, Wellness Summit. Now, this summit is to help you with all kinds of parenting. There'll be multiple tracks running all day. So, what does that mean? That means that at any time, say 9 a.m., you can choose probably from about 10 different talks at that same time. So, Latoya and I are going to be on what we call the Mom Empowerment Summit. I have worked very hard to get this host track ready and create this for moms just to feel inspired, empowered, and ready to embrace motherhood so we can do it together. And Latoya is one of my speakers who's going to tell us all about self-care. I am so excited to be able to interview you. Tell us a little bit about what you'll share, Latoya.
Yeah, so Michelle, I am so happy that you gave me the invite to be on this platform. I'm so excited. Health, wealth, for moms, that's the thing. Those are important things that we need to talk about. So anything with mom empowerment, and I get to come and share some health and wellness tips. I'm always excited about that. So hello again, everyone. My name is Dr. Latoya Wiggins. You can call me Latoya, that's fine. And I am a self care strategist for moms. I specifically work with Christian moms oftentimes because I love to transition them from worn out to winning using biblical principles. So I teach them how to develop healthy habits, to be nourished, renewed, and rejuvenated. Help them to feel depleted. I mean, not to feel depleted, but help them to feel full, not depleted, and have more peace and joy in their life.
Now, from your experience, what do you feel makes mom feel so depleted?
Oftentimes they're not prioritizing self-care. And when I say self-care, I'm talking about doing those things that is it feels nourishing to them, whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. You have to do things that bring you some peace, bring you some joy. Those things that make you feel they can energize you or relax you, but not deplete you and make you feel worn out. So we have to find different ways to be mentally and physically in shape, have good energy in all those different areas of our lives. So we can actually keep up with all of that busyness, the busy kids, and anything else. If you're married, you're working, you have your own business, even just being a stay-at-home mom, all of that is a lot of work and a lot to keep up with. So we have to do those things that pour into us as we're pouring into others.
So, I have this question for you. What is your number one tip for those moms out there that really need that self care? How do they implement, like, if they're so overwhelmed, so stressed? What
Mhm.
is your first big tip of where to start?
First, typically I say you have to give yourself permission to say yes to yourself. It starts there for one. A lot of times we just have to give ourselves permission to get the ball rolling, just acknowledge that I need this. It's important. So I must do this. So that's the main thing I would say first, the first step.
Well, it's funny is when you said like say yes to yourself, it made me think of the opposite is like that we also at the same time need to start saying no
Uh huh.
to the things that aren't serving us. Because sometimes we take on, like for instance, if you're PTO or something and you're all
Hmm.
doing all these things and you're not making that time for yourself and learning which ones are actually fulfilling you. Because we do a lot of the shoulds of what we
Yeah.
think we have to do versus the things that we actually feel inspired to do or that we want to do to connect with our kids or other parents, but we're doing more shoulds than we
Mm-hmm.
feel. What do you think about that?
That is so true. And that's usually the next step. You have to give yourself permission to say yes. And that is going to mean, that does mean you will have to start saying no to some people or things, like you said, that no longer serve you, that no longer serve your purpose. They're not um, doing anything, like I said, besides depleting you. And like you said, a lot of times we're on a mission and we don't even know what mission that is. It's just we feel like we should be doing this. Oh, I see this mom over here doing that. I should be doing that, or I should be able to do that. And we have to get out of our own head and tell ourselves what exactly is it that I want. So I can give permission to that. Not give permission to myself to keep doing what is not doing anything great for me. I'm not benefiting from it. But what is it that I want to do so I can do life on, my terms, not somebody else's terms?
Now, my experience, I'm sure with yours, is there's a lot of moms out there that don't even realize that this is something that they need. So what are some signs that you would say that would be indicators that moms, you really do need to take care of yourself?
So how are you feeling? Are you feeling depressed, overwhelmed, burnt out? Um, where's your joy? Are you waking up each day and already dreading the day? I've experienced that. So are you feeling joyful? Are you feeling happy? And not having these little moments, these little pockets of happiness, but how are you feeling on a day-to-day basis? Life isn't perfect, so we are going to have some up and downs, but overall, how are you feeling? Are you enjoying your life? Are you enjoying motherhood? Or are you just kind of on autopilot, just doing what you need to do to survive? Everyone else around you looks like they're thriving, but you feel like you are just holding on to their life, literally. Are you having any health problems? So I did mention some of the mental stuff. You might be suffering from depression, anxiety, and you may not even know it, but you're not feeling well. Like I said, you're not feeling happy, you're feeling down a lot. There may be some resentment going on, whether that's towards your kids or your spouse or other people. you know, you're looking at other people wishing that you were in their position. Life was a little bit better. You're wishing you were happier, or, whatever's going on in their life, you wish you had. But then you had the physical things. Are you feeling drained each day? Do you feel like you're having a hard time keeping up with the kids? Are you just looking for time to rest and not finding it? You know, and then just typical health problems. Sometimes you're having um, it could be muscle aches, headaches, stomach aches, low sex drive, lack of focus and attention, and the list can go on. Pretty much that's what consistent stress causes: high blood pressure, obesity, diabetes, a lot of different things that are going on with us. It's because we're not taking care of ourselves. And that takes us back to the self-care piece. We're not taking care of ourselves. So if you're dealing with any kind of health problems, maybe something new, can be unexplainable. Yeah, I think it might be time to take
Dive
some
into that
take some action
self-care.
steps. Yeah.
Well, you also made me think about how we think about that self-care, and we always that envy that we might be feeling in other
hmm
people, and how we feel like we want to be what they're doing. And honestly, I feel like that's the whole point of these summits and these events, is that you don't have to feel envious. What you do is you see someone you admire, go figure out how they're doing it. That's
Yeah.
Latoya is here to give you some tips. What are some things you can apply to your own life so you don't have to feel that struggle, but you all of a sudden like, oh, that's something that I can do. And all of a sudden that's what starts to make you feel better. Let's get away from this comparison and stuff,
hmm
and it's going, this is where I'm at right now. How do I move myself forward? And if you're inspired by something Latoya said, that's the perfect reason to come watch her talk, because you're going to get some tips in some ways. Like, you don't have to be envious of Latoya that she's doing this thing and has her own podcast, but that you're learning from her. And that's the whole point of summits and coaches and mentoring, is let's do this together. Moms, we
Yes,
don't have to do motherhood alone. We've been told that
exactly.
for way too long. It's frustrating, it's lonely, it's isolating. And that's the whole point of why I personally want to do this mom empowerment track, because I want moms to feel empowered to enjoy. The kids are going to be out of the house before we know it. And if we
hmm
look back and say, I have no idea what just happened, I didn't enjoy any of it,
Mm.
that's where I want to say, moms, let's stop and let's see what's going on, so we can work towards actually enjoying our kids,
hmm
enjoying what the role that we picked. And let's not do it alone, because you don't have to. Let's do it
Yes.
together and learn from each other. And so, on that note, I want to invite you to come join us on April 12th. It will be all day long. And the beauty is, if you can't make all of it and you feel inspired by some of this, there's a VIP package in there. Don't remember the price off the top of my head because we're getting all the links, and this is our very first live going into it. But there will be links included in the next day or two, down below in the comments. We'll add them as soon as they come out. The registration itself, though, is free. Come watch
hmm
live. Come join us. Come be in the Zoom room with us and make comments. It's all about doing it together and
Yes.
learning from each other. And that'll be your time to ask questions. I'll be your host, and I'll be in there, and I'll be looking at your questions and be bringing them to Latoya to answer directly for you and the other speakers. So come join us. And any last words for our audience, Latoya?
No, I was just gonna backtrack on what you said. Like, yes, we have to connect with one another. We don't have to do mom life alone. So let's connect with it. connect with each other, build community, and just know that none of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not always perfect with my self-care, so I'm just at a stage where I know what I benefit from, so I'm more intentional, and that's what I'm trying to do. Have other moms become more intentional about what nourishes them, so they can take those small steps. Sometimes it's just really small steps to start nourishing yourself and feel happier and be healthier. So, like you said, come and join us and learn some tips and tricks that you can start implementing as soon as the summit ends.
One last thing you inspired me to say was about that connection. And moms, sometimes we do struggle to belong. And if you've noticed, if this happened for me, I don't know if it happened for you, but if you notice that when you come to a table of other moms or something, you feel like that the only way you can be part of that table is by complaining, which I've noticed that quite a bit, which I necessarily didn't feel like complaining, but it kind of festers and it just perpetuates the conversation that you have to add complaints. Well, if you feel like you want something different, you don't want to feel that way anymore. That's what this is for. It's a different type of empowerment that we're going to do that to how can we feel better, not just live in our complaints. Like, yes, we have to share our struggles. We all have them and we want to support you in them, but we don't have to live in them. And that's what this is all about, is getting us together, learning how to share them, how to acknowledge them, but then how do we move forward? How do we enjoy more of what we're doing? And so that's why I want to invite you to our summit, April 12th. Links will be below in the next day or so as soon as they're available. In all of these lives, they will be listed below. Come join us. And I can't wait to interview Latoya for a full 25 minutes. We got a whole half an hour with Latoya. It's so exciting. Come join us.
Yes,
see you all later.
Bye-bye.